like to give you an introduction to the names of the parts of the Janome machine, the schoolmate machine, the one that you will be using. First, everybody is familiar with the needle, and follow my little pointing finger, and you know where that's located. That's right there in the center. Now the needle is sharp, so you don't want to stick your finger under there, but if it breaks, you'll have to unscrew this screw in order to put a new one in. Then under the needle is the presser foot, which is right here, and it has toes on it, and it does wiggle a little bit, and that's okay. It's supposed to be a little flexible. And to raise, you would put your fabric under it. So to raise it, it's in the raised position right now, you would use the lever, the presser foot lever, which is right back here, and you watch me, it'll go down, and then when you're sewing, your fabric will hold down so it can sew, and then you lift it like that. And you want to control this by not slamming it like that. You want to control it up and down, because if you keep slamming it, it becomes loose and your presser foot will fall off, and then you'll have to tighten it with this screw on the side over here. Okay, in addition to that, you have your throat plate, which is the silver plate right here. So this is the throat plate. And this is the bobbin plate, or I like to call it the trap door. And you remove it by pushing this button like this. Pops out. And then a bobbin would go inside there, which looks like this. It's a bobbin. So the bobbin is the lower thread, and it would go inside there, and then that's how you thread your machine. I'll show you in another video. So the bobbin and the trap door. Okay, then we have, let's see, throat plate. Throat plate is the silver plate, bobbin plate here, needle, and presser foot. Up here is your thread take-up lever. Thread take-up lever. Basically, the thread is going to go through here, around here when we thread the machine, and when your needle goes up or down, it moves too. So that's in the down position, it disappears. But when your needle goes up, it appears, and you can see it inside there. Thread take up lever. Thread take up lever. Okay, and then I'm going to open the top of the machine, and how you do that is there's a little latch right here. Go to the latch, lift it, and it opens up the top of the machine. On the top of the machine, there's several things you'll want to be aware of. This right here is your spool pin. And on your spool pin is where your spool of thread goes. We have various types of spools. This is one of the newer types of spools that we have, and it would slide onto the spool pin. Like that. And then you would use the corresponding spool cap to hold it in place. This is a large one for a large spool of thread, but this is the small one that would fit on this one. So it goes like this and holds the spool of thread in place. Then when you thread your machine, you'll use several different spaces up here. Show you another time. In addition, up here you have your thread tension dial. It's a tension dial because it determines the tension of the thread, and it's set on 4. Thread tension dial. Sets on 4. This one is your presser foot dial, tension dial. So this determines, this stays on 3, and this determines the presser foot, which was down here, how hard it presses down on the fabric, and will be adjusted according to whatever fabric that you need. Okay, so pressure dial is this one, and tension dial, presser dial is this one, and tension dial is this one. Over here is your bobbin winder. So remember your bobbin, the little guy that goes inside here? the little bobbin, you have to wind him with thread. And this is where you do it, the bobbin winder. If you notice, the bobbin winder, when you put your bobbin, get one for you, there you go. Put your bobbin on here, and you wrap your thread around it to fill it, you click it over that way, and that engages the bobbin winder. So, bobbin winder. On the front more of the machine, you have 2 dials here. Your length dial, which goes from 0 to 4. For a typical straight stitch, you will keep it on 2. So this is the length dial, which is your length selector, determines the length of your stitch. This selector button determines which stitch you do. This one currently is set on straight stitch. The little dotted line means straight stitch. That's your stitch selector. You can change this by just turning it. This would be a zigzag stitch. Then you could take it all the way around for buttonholes and applique and different things. But typically for level 1, we keep it right there. Below that is the reverse lever, which allows the machine to sew in reverse. You would hold it down and sew. It will sew backwards, let go, and it sews forwards. You do that at the beginning and end of every seam. On the side in the machine, you have the place where you plug in your power cord. So the power cord is a dual cord. One end goes to the power plug itself, which gets plugged into your outlet, and the other cord goes to your foot pedal or your accelerator, and the foot pedal goes on the floor, and that's what you put your foot on and press down like the accelerator of a car, which engages the motor and gets it running. When you take your foot off of the accelerator, the machine stops running. Also on the side is your power switch. We have 2 different types, so it may look a little different, 2 different models, but it's basically an on-off switch. When you turn it on and it's plugged in, there'll be a light that will illuminate the surface to let you know that the machine is on. Also on the side of your machine is your hand wheel. So the hand wheel we use quite often, and we like to turn it towards us, which causes, as I'm turning it towards me, causes the needle to go up and down. So sometimes you just need a stitch or 2, and you just need to turn the hand wheel, and you need more control than it would be with your foot. So hand wheel, and then inside the hand wheel is called the clutch knob. You would pull that out, and then that would not allow the needle to go up and down. I'm turning it right now, but it's not allowing the needle to move. You do that so that you can wind your bobbin. So when you wind a bobbin, you push that in, you pull out the clutch knob so you can wind your bobbin and not have the machine running. Put that back. Clutch knob should be in, which causes the needle to go up and down. When you pull out the clutch knob, it does not allow the needle to go up and down for safety reasons. So most of the time, clutch knob is in. Clutch knob, hand wheel, power switch, foot pedal on the side of your machine. So quick review. We have the reverse stitch lever. We have a stitch selector. We have the stitch length selector. We have the bobbin winder. We have the throat plate. We have the thread cutter, which is right here, which cuts your thread. We have the bobbin plate, or the trap door, which is the clear one. The thread take-up lever, which you can only see when your needle is in the upright position. We have a hand wheel, clutch knob on the inside, power switch, presser foot lever, which is under here, presser foot lever, the black one, which raises and lowers the presser foot. Spool pin, just where your spool of thread sits. Spool cap, small or large. Presser dial, the pressure for your presser foot, which is set on 3. Tension dial, which is set on 4, which indicates the tension of your thread. Your needle, your foot pedal or accelerator, which is on the floor for your foot. And then the last thing is your extension table. So I'm going to show you how that works. You open it like that. Inside we keep a pair of scissors and a seam ripper. So inside your machine at all times you just have a pair of scissors and seam ripper. And this table sometimes comes off. It's made to pop off so that you can use a smaller surface. For example, if you had to slip a sleeve on or something narrow to sew around, it makes it easier. But most of the time you need all of this surface to sew. So you put this back on and it just snaps on like that. So that's a basic introduction to your Janome Schoolmate machine.